Bet you guys didn't believe me when I said that we are so back, bro. 2 YouTube videos in 1 week. Who am I? So guys, welcome back. For those of you that do not know me, my name is Tyler, better known as jboogx.creative in the social media world, and I have been a full-time content creator specializing in generative AI for the past 3 years. Welcome to the channel. If you like AI content and you like cool AI content, please consider liking and subscribing if you find anything in this video useful. What are we doing today? So this is going to be the first of a series that will evolve over time as the AI tools evolve over time, and this one is going to be what AI tools am I using to do what I do in April 2025? This is not going to be a full-blown tutorial video. This is going to be a high-level overview of how I use the combination of the specific tools that I'm using in my current workflow to do what I do, to make the videos that I make. Hopefully you can get some inspiration on how you can take the idea of how I make what I make and go apply it to what you guys are doing and hopefully make something cool in the process. What I would like to avoid doing on this channel is showing you guys tools and then giving you a bunch of generic examples. I want to give you guys actual use cases and show you how I'm actually using it in my work. So let's hop into a computer. I'm going to give you guys a tour of the AI tools I love to use in April 2025. All right, so this first site that I want to briefly talk about is more like an honorable mention. This is not AI, but this is one of my favorite places to come and curate and kind of like find inspiration. This website is called Cosmos.so. It is just a matured version of Pinterest. I love looking at it. I love being on it. And once you sign up for an account, you can install a widget in your Google Chrome to allow you to just like save images to different boards as you're browsing the internet without being on the site. So like, for example, this is my motion design board where I'm just like constantly saving and adding really inspiring like little motion MoGraph videos that I see online. And it's just like all here for me. I can come back to it and be inspired at any time. So yeah, I highly recommend this. I'm constantly kind of just like looking at things and trying to take in as much good stuff that I enjoy as possible. And it's what kind of like stokes my fire to make stuff in the first place. So Cosmos.so, highly recommended. And then of course I use Pinterest too, but I find myself always being pulled back and using this much more. So Cosmos.so. Okay, so I had to pause doing the video for a little while because as I was shooting the rest of this video, Johnny Dang, the jeweler, the guy who literally makes the iced out grill teeth for every major hip hop star on the planet, him and I did a collaboration together and he posted the video while I was shooting this video. So I'm gonna put that video right here. There's not gonna be any sound on it because the sound is definitely copyright, but I'm gonna put a link to the video down in the description. Go check it out. This is like, I've been grinding the past couple months making like AI grill content of anime characters and stuff, and it's been insane how popular it's gotten, but doing a video with literally the Iceman himself, the jeweler, to like every major hip hop artist, it just goes to show you that when you're constantly putting yourself out there, you can get stuff done. But if you don't put yourself out there, nothing's gonna happen. But anyways, back to the video. So the first place we're gonna start is image generation because that is the beginning of this process. So all of the videos you've seen from me in the past like 3 or 4 months, if you were to go and scrub my Instagram, have been utilizing the technique that we refer to as image to video, meaning you're generating an image based off an idea or a look that you want. And then we take that image and we put it into a video generator, which takes the frame of the image and animates it and brings it to life and turns it into anywhere from a 5 to 10-second video, depending on what platform you use. And then you just like, you stack those up and you can suddenly cut an actual full-length video out of nothing but images you generated with never having to grab a camera. This is the world we live in now. But anyways, let's talk about the image generators that I bounce back and forth between. Starting off with the newest one and what is currently sitting as my crown jewel on the throne of image generation. Personal opinion, but I've had great success with it thus far, and I'm still very excited about it, and it's been out for almost a week now, and that is, I don't know if, I guess I would call it Sora, but it's ChatGPT, so it's the new 4.0 image generator from ChatGPT, and even just scrolling through and looking at the main feed, if you were to come to Sora.com, this is like what your account looks like when you log in. The fidelity you're able to get out of these images and its understanding of natural language and conversational language and complex instructions you can give it are out of this world, and nothing that I've experienced from any other image generator that I have had to sit there and fight with. I'm able to get from my idea to actual finished product using this much quicker and with much more of like a creative feeling back and forth rather than a very frustrating back and forth of what other image generators have felt like up until now. I'm looking at you, MidJourney and Flux, even though you guys are in here too. This is it, man. I mean, like, you can here, I'll show you some of my examples. Okay, so here I started off with the idea of isometric, small Final Fantasy characters, Cloud and Tifa walking on like the world map of Final Fantasy VII, right? And then I was like, okay, wait, this is cool, but the location needs to be more specific and more dynamic and more detailed, but I also need to put my spin on it. I can't just have them in their normal Final Fantasy VII outfits, so I want them wearing like Supreme logoed streetwear versions of their outfits. And just through like iteration and going back and forth with it, then I started to get like this, and okay, that's cool, but I want more environment. So through just like altering and changing my prompt, I eventually got to this, and then I was like, okay, wait, this is cool. That's clearly Midgar behind him. Like, you can see the reactor. However, Cloud needs to have his Buster Sword, right? He needs to have that big, thick sword on his back, and better yet, that sword needs to be 24 karat gold. And then I eventually got to this, which is a very streetwear stylized version of Cloud and Tifa. You can see the reactor. This still feels like Midgar if you've ever played Final Fantasy VII. And now he has this badass 24 karat gold Buster Sword on his back. It was just like, and the iteration process here felt fun and it felt creative, and it makes me excited to work on these videos. So right now, and then just to show you the range, then let's take one like something more realistic, like what I did before with my Chainsaw Man night out partying concept, where, let me find a image that's not going to get me blocked or something, where like here is Chainsaw Man and Makima from the show after hours at eating at a diner after clubbing in Shibuya. But that's them. It's realistic. They got diamond grills. They're wearing their diamond chains. That is very much Chainsaw Man. It's just like, it's crazy. But look how drastically different that is from the Final Fantasy VII image. And I don't have to download anything. I don't have to install anything. I don't have to fight with weird little nuances in language. If you're just getting into it, if like you're looking to get into image generation, I'm not too sure what the cheapest plan is for ChatGPT for you to generate images. It might be the $20 a month one. I would recommend starting here. You'll be the best off going this route, because you can do anime, you can do realism, you can do 3D, you can do different camera angles. Start here if you haven't started yet. But this is my number one pick. This is OpenAI ChatGPT's 4.0 image generator. Number 2, and this one is free. This one is for all of you that don't have a fancy computer. You don't want to pay for anything. You can't pay for anything right now. This is Microsoft Bing, and this is their Dall-E 3 image generator. Now, the one thing to keep in mind here is because it's Microsoft and because it's Bing and Dall-E and all that stuff, you're going to have to wrestle with filters if you're trying to generate stuff that's a little questionable. But like this one was, I did this whole concept of Luffy from One Piece like blaze out of his mind in the middle of an underground rave. And look at this image. This is super dope. And you guys can see my prompt right there and how I kind of danced around the words. Image of Luffy from the anime One Piece wearing his signature straw hat, staring at himself in the mirror in a dirty concert bathroom. The mirror has graffiti all over it. His eyes are bloodshot red. He's high. Everyone is around him smoking. This is a candid image shot on a Leica Q2 35mm flash photography and is realistic. There are character restraints to Bing, so like your prompt has to fall within a certain character range, but as you can see, that was pretty simple, straightforward, and it looks sick. And these animated so well for the video. So if you're on a budget or you're just getting started and you just want to play with it, definitely try Microsoft's Bing Dall-E 3 image generator. Number 3, the third image generator I use is, of course, Flux. And what you guys are looking at on my screen right now, for those of you that are not familiar with it, this is Kling.AI, and this is a modular open source interface that's free, but you need to have a pretty decent computer to run the Flux AI model. There are a lot of YouTube videos that can teach you how to run Flux and how to set it up and how to set up Kling.AI. That's a whole rabbit hole in itself. However, there's a lot that can teach you that. But if I want to generate images locally and there's something very specific I need, like I trained a model specifically on the diamond grills on Flux. These are some of the images I made surrounding my character from The Mask, because a lot of people requested a video on The Mask. You can see he has the big old diamond grills. He's holding the tacos. What I will say about Flux is it gets a little restrictive as far as camera angles go and whatnot, but if you have a decent computer, you can run it locally and you can run it free if you have an NVIDIA graphics card, like a GPU with at least like 8 to 12 gigabytes of VRAM. Of course, the more the better, but sometimes we got to work with what we got. However, if I didn't have a great computer, I would just go and run with Bing until I was able to scrounge something up. If you want to use Flux, which is still an outstanding image model, and you do not have a local environment that's capable of running it, there are plenty of cloud-hosted sites that will charge you pennies on the dollar for Flux generations. You can do it on Think Diffusion, you can do it on Run Diffusion, you can do it on TensorArt, you can do it on Civitai. There are so many sites and they all use Flux. And actually, I think Grok on X uses Flux. So you can even just generate images in Grok. So that's number 3. That's my third image generator. All right, now we have number 4, which at this point kind of feels like an honorable mention, but that's MidJourney. MidJourney is still currently on version 6.1. Version 7 is supposed to come out right around the corner. I'm excited to try it. However, it has some big shoes to fill with Sora, but there are ways that you can explore MidJourney to get really interesting outputs by mashing images together that I don't think any of the other image models can quite do. With that being said, I've mainly been using MidJourney for its editing capabilities. So, for example, this is an image that I got out of Sora of Gyu and the kids from Demon Slayer just hanging out by the river doing things, right? They're just hanging out, they're just doing things. And the image that comes out of Sora is not a true 9:16. Anytime I get an image from Flux or from Sora or from especially Bing, because Bing only generates in squares, that is not a true 9:16, I bring the image into MidJourney and I throw it in their edit feature. And if you look, well, this is the actual size of the image. All this gray area up here, that's the actual 9:16 frame. And I'm able to just type in something like simple, like lake. That's literally all I put in the prompt is lake. I click submit edit. And now what MidJourney is going to do is it's going to outpaint, AKA it's going to generate and fill in the blank of that transparent gray area. And what I'm going to be left with is a true 9:16 image. So you can just see how now I have an image that if I put it on my phone, will take up the entire vertical frame, which is really important for social media. So MidJourney's been out forever. If you guys haven't been using it, there's people that can teach you how to use it way better than me. I'm mainly using it for the editing function right now. And hopefully version 7, which comes out soon, is a game changer for them. I really hope so. So there we have it. We have your image generators. We have number 1, Sora by OpenAI and ChatGPT, which I believe comes in at somewhere between 20 bucks a month to 200 bucks a month, depending on whether or not you want to use the video generation feature and take advantage of ChatGPT, which I highly recommend. 2, we have Bing, which is totally free. It only generates squares, and you're going to have to mess with some, you're going to have to figure out your language to get around the filters, but it's really, really good and worth it. 3, we have Flux, which is an amazing model. You can run it locally for free if you have a good enough computer. If not, you can pay to use it on websites for really, really cheap. And number 4, we have MidJourney, which is like good old faithful at this point. And there are people that have learned how to do some insane things with MidJourney. I really enjoy using the editor function. Those are my 4 main image generation platforms that I use in every video currently. We know where to go to get inspired and look for references. We know where to go to generate our images. Now, after we have a great image, before we animate it, we need to upscale it. Why? Because upscaling is going to add all the detail that will really come to life in the animation. Now, there are free ways you could do this through Comfy UI and through other means. My favorite image upscaler currently is Magnific.ai, which is what's on my screen right now. I use this to upscale all my images. Nothing gets animated and nothing goes into a final video until it goes through Magnific. And I'm going to show you why. Okay, so let's take our man Thanos here. Now, what you see on the screen right now is the unupscaled version, and this came directly out of Bing, and I made it 9:16 using MidJourney. Now, if we drag this slider over, like, I really hope it's translating on the video exactly how much more detailed and how crystal clear this is. And it gives him this super, it takes everything from being smooth and kind of blurry and kind of fuzzy to super, super detailed. And it's really like, look at the detail in the burger and in his face. Like, look at the difference in that. So Magnific has a plan that's, I believe, 30 bucks a month, and they have a plan that is 100 bucks a month. I think for most people, unless you're using this professionally, that the $30 a month plan is more than sufficient. There's some specific settings I use in here to get my results. What those are, I upscale all my images by 4x, because when I do only 2x, even though it costs less Magnific credits, the detail is just like, it's so much better when you go to 4x. I put in the exact same prompt that I use for the image, and I optimize it. They have a couple different settings here. I do it for films and photography because when you get the realistic, lifelike skin texture on your images, all of the image to video platforms animate them way better than if they look too cartoonish or too fake. I'm always looking for this in between 3D and realistic, surreal, hyper-realistic skin texture. So I select their optimized for films and photography setting. I bump the creativity slider up to 2. 3, if the image is like really cartoonish to start with. The creativity slider, the higher it is, it's going to add more of that skin texture. But the higher you take their sliders, the more it's going to get like really wild in the results. And I want it to be as close to the original as possible. So I turn creativity up to 2. I turn HDR up to 1. I leave resemblance at 0. And I turn fractality up to 1. Now, this is pretty much my setting for every image that I'm upscaling. And you can really see here the difference it makes in these images. So I'll leave it right here in the middle. Look at the difference between Thor and Hulk. And then even this one, if we go to Captain America and Iron Man, just boom. So keep in mind when you upscale it, because this is actually diffusing it, it's going to change the image a little, but it has to add all the detail, right? But this, like, it's magic, man. And Magnific has a bunch of other functions and usability. They have their own image generator. They have restyling. They have relighting. I really mainly use it for the upscaling. So that is the third part of the process. So we got our inspiration, which is Pinterest and Cosmos.so. We got our image generation. Once we have our image, we need to upscale it, and that is Magnific.ai, at least for me right now in April 2025. Let's move on. All right, step 4, and the fourth and final step to making these videos if we're talking about strictly AI tools, and that is finally bringing the video to life using an image to video platform. My favorite currently, hands down right now, is Kling, utilizing their 1.6 model, the professional version. Now, I will say this up front as a disclaimer, Kling is by far the most expensive and most pricey one of these video generator platforms. There are plenty of good ones that will fit within any budget. There's Luma, there's Runway, there's Minimax. You just need to figure out what works for you and what style you're trying to achieve, because they all have their strengths and they all have their weaknesses. Kling is really good at getting me the most realistic, lifelike motion while maintaining the textures that I'm pulling out of my images. So that's why I choose Kling. What's on the screen right now, you can see this is a video that at the time this video gets posted on YouTube will be live on my Instagram that I was working on for tonight, which the idea was the colossal Titan from Attack on Titan wearing Air Force Ones stomping through New York. And the Air Force Ones, of course, had to be like the gaudy Louis Vuitton Supreme Air Force Ones, because that was like a whole era of streetwear. But I digress. When it comes to using Kling, just a few pointers, and I can come back and do a deep dive in this in another video, but just a few pointers to minimize the amount of credits you waste on videos is use as simple and concise language as possible, because even though Kling has their English facing website now, it used to be only in Chinese and there's a whole workaround you had to do for it. I have a sneaking suspicion that when you put in whatever you type into Kling for the prompt for the motion, they are translating to Chinese on the back end. So the simpler and more direct and concise you are with what you tell it, the better it will adhere to what you want and give you what you want. And so for this one, for example, I prompted this image as he is walking, period. People are running away, period. Big impact as his foot hits the ground, period. And we see the dust kick up on this second step, just, which was a nice touch. And then the camera, Dall-E zoom camera tracks him, meaning as the Dall-E zoom pulls away, it's keeping him in the frame. He doesn't walk past the camera, because if you don't specify that, a lot of times they'll leave the screen. And just to top it off, I put dynamic action scene, which is perfect. We got the traffic, we got the people running. And then there's a creativity slider in Kling, which is really the only type of like control you have in their newest model, which is kind of like the CFG, or they call it the creativity slider. But basically the higher it is, the more it's going to restrict the motion and try to adhere to your prompt. And the looser it is, the more creative you're going to allow Kling to be with your prompt. I find myself using 0.5 right in the middle. If I need more, I go down to 0.35. And if it's still too restrictive and I'm convinced that my prompt is good and I see like it can work, I'll go down to 0.25. But 0.25 is like last resort, because what will happen at 0.25 is motions will kind of get a little muddy and blurry, and we don't want that. We want these videos to look as coherent as possible while keeping whatever surrealness you have in them. Let me show you another example real quick from the video I posted today, which was from this Demon Slayer concept I did. So here we have the Love Hashira, guys, don't judge me. And we have the three characters sitting down there in front of her, just heart googly eyes, and she's dancing, but look at like the hearts and the animation and stuff. And so this one, I got just a little bit more creative with the prompt, and I said the three people on the ground are drunk in love with her. The woman in pink is summoning heart magic. She dances and twirls seductively. The tongues of the three people drop out of their mouths. endless hearts because I wanted the hearts to keep going, and handheld movement. It kind of did exactly everything I wanted. Now that prompt was risky at like, you know, I could have just lost credits on it and it could have not given me anything good, but this showed me like, okay, I can mess with that a little and I'll get something really, really good. So like Kling is just, it's so strong, man. It's so strong. It's what I have been animating literally every single one of my videos with for the past 4 or 5 months. If you were to go and scroll through my social media, and I think the engagement and how much people have responded to the videos kind of speak for themselves. So personal recommendation for bringing your images to life, Kling.ai. It's a little pricey. If it's too much for you, then I would recommend Luma, Runway, and Minimax. And that, guys, are all of the tools I am using in April 2025 to make my AI videos for social media and for clients and all that good stuff. I really hope this helped you kind of understand the flow of the process, and we'll do more of these videos as the tools evolve and as they change, because Lord knows they are going to do so every couple weeks, couple months, sometimes even couple days. So if you made it to the end, thank you for watching. You can find me on social media at jboogx.creative, especially on Instagram. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you got any value out of this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Go make something cool. Peace.